back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts just like winter.
New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, it is the New York Knicks podcast, episode 612, and nothing good vibes today, Mark.
Nothing but good vibes. Jay, are you following the controversy?
There's a controversy?
Well, there's a whole thing about how people that support Penn Station think that MSG, Madison Square Garden, is getting in the way of building out Penn Station. They think if they move Madison Square Garden, Penn Station would function better.
This is what you're opening
You
up
following
the show
that?
This is what you're opening up the show with?
Yeah, no, it's kind of a big deal. So they're thinking about the talk is that they're going to move Madison Square Garden across the street, which seemed kind of like a ridiculous project, right?
Yeah. Is this? Are we getting to the
Yeah,
playoffs
so
at
anyway,
some point, or like what are we doing?
Yeah. So anyway, there was actually a large donation made in favor of this. Very nice. I have to thank Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell for donating all the bricks for the project.
There we go. We tied it.
There we go.
I was hoping we were going to get back to that.
Obviously, we got to. It is amazing how we've done, this is our third playoff recap episode, whatever. The first episode, we are the highest highs. The second episode, not quite the lowest, but pretty low.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're back to like cloud nine. Knicks won one of the greatest Knicks weekends we've had in our lifetime, or at least since the 90s. The Knicks won 2 playoff games this weekend. The best weekend the Knicks have had in 20 years.
Yeah.
Fair to say?
Yeah, definitely fair to say.
Statement
wins. Statement wins.
Statement wins. I went to game 3. I took my son there. It was electric. You had to stand every time the Knicks scored. You had to stand because the whole everyone in front of you stood up also, and everyone was cheering and going crazy for every goddamn basket. It was freaking amazing. And then game 4, I watched by myself in my house and just cheered myself. But unbelievable. How you doing, Jay?
I am doing good. Yeah. So I guess let's just go game by game, and then we can talk about the subplots and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I had a couple questions before we even go into the game. Can I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah.
Okay, so are the basketball gods setting us up for a Charlie Brown moment? Are they setting us up to have a huge disappointing moment?
You're talking about when Lucy pulls the football away?
Yes, because right now we are already Knicks fans are already in the finals. At the very it's a given we're going to the second round. We have to close out the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's not a given we are making it to the next round, even though we all feel like it's a given. It's not.
It's not a given. Confidence is high, but it's not a given.
I mean, it's very easy for you play next game. You're in Cleveland. Cleveland, it's a close game. Cleveland wins on a last-second shot, say, or Donovan Mitchell finally delivers, and Cleveland wins. You're like, okay, 3-2. We got this 3-2. No big deal. We're going back to the Garden. Then we blow it in the Garden, and you're in a game 7 against Donovan Mitchell. That's not where we want to be. You have to step on their throats in game 5.
Yes. I mean, winning in 5 would be amazing. Game 6 would be good. Game 7, it wouldn't be fun.
No, I think the Knicks have to win next game. If they do not win next game, I'm going to start freaking out. I know you don't. Knicks have to win 1 of 3 games, but this is the game to win. All the momentum's on your side. Cleveland's doubting themselves. You have to win this game.
I'm not going to be freaking out if they lose next game. I mean, we thought the Knicks were going to win in 6 or 7 anyway, so I'm not going to freak out about it going to 6.
I know I shouldn't, big picture, but aren't you going to get a little worried if they lose next game? Don't they have to win next game? Come on, Jay.
No, they don't have to win next game. They have to win game 6, I think.
No, they have to win next game. The momentum's on your side. You do not want Cleveland to get confident. You want Donovan Mitchell to be doubting himself. You want the Cavaliers to have no idea how to guard Jalen Brunson. You want them on You want them on their heels. You want them just scared, not know what to do. If they get confidence, this series goes 7 and we're in trouble.
I will say confidence is high. See, this is, by the way, there's Cavs fans talking about trading Donovan Mitchell already, which I just love.
If you read Cavs subreddit, Twitter, all just Cavs fans talk, even there's some Cavs podcasts I've listened to now, they are so shaken and just like frustrated with their team. It's amazing.
Well, a big problem with this series is that they don't have any depth, which was
None.
exactly our fear when the Knicks were talking about trading all these pieces for Donovan Mitchell. Because when you do that, your ceiling might be higher, but if that star doesn't perform, you have nothing else. Like, C.D. Osman isn't going to save your playoffs.
Fair. I know sometimes, like when uneven, you give them a player just to make your bench is so bad. We can give them Daquan Jeffries for Game 5.
Wouldn't even do that. Although he would probably get some rotation minutes on the Cavs because that was the huge part about skipping ahead. But Game 2, when Mobley fouled out, they don't have a backup big man. They have Robin Lopez who like barely plays anymore. I loved Robin Lopez like 6 years ago when he was on the Knicks, but he's way past his prime, and that's the only backup big they have. Then they have like Dean Wade. Like they have nothing on the bench.
First of all, Dean Wade in the regular season, he plays well against the Knicks. Lamar Stevens isn't that bad either. They should use these players. I mean, I'm not encouraging them, but they probably should use these players.
The problem is like the Knicks have a legit bench. They're like all of the Knicks bench players are better than all of the Cavs bench players.
Yes. I was reading a Cavs subreddit where one fan was like, if only we had signed Dwight Howard, he would have been helpful in this series. That's how desperate they are getting.
Yeah. Well, you know who they could have used?
That is insane.
You know who they could have used? Like
who could
really
they have
bad?
used?
Kevin Love.
Yes. But
they waived him right before the
playing
playoffs.
in the play.
Why would you waive?
He's got
He's starting
Kevin
for
Love
Miami.
has more victories than the Cleveland Cavaliers do right now.
He's starting for Miami. Like, why would you do that? I don't know. Anyway, I'm not complaining. That's fine. I think it's hilarious that they did that. It just seems weird. Like, we have no backup big men, and we'll trade our only one. I mean, we'll waive our only one.
Yeah, I think Kevin Love seemed like he was never that happy there. They felt like they had to play him. And if they had to play, like he needs to be one of those guys break in case of emergency kind of player, not like getting major minutes for them anymore. I don't know. His tenure there was really weird. Obviously, he was with the LeBron era. Kevin Love looked like the most 3 years until they got good again.
Hilarious times.
Like hilarious, but also like, dude, they're paying you $27 million. Don't be a dick about this. Try.
Yeah. I don't know. It was weird, but
ridiculous.
Anyway,
Brunson, I have to say, Brunson, they asked Brunson about, like, how are you feeling, basically? Are you, like, basically asked him kind of like, are you ready for the next round? And he just said, like, we are far from done with this round. Like, we have a ways to go to win this series.
You know, every single time Brunson gets interviewed, he says the exact right thing.
He is unbelievable. He really, literally always says the exact right thing. And I freaking love watching Brunson get interviewed where with Josh Hart's next to him, like that video where Josh Hart's eating popcorn while Brunson's giving those perfect answers, and Hart's just trying to make Brunson laugh.
Yeah. I think it was gum.
Oh my god,
wasn't it gum?
No, he was eating popcorn.
Oh, okay. I thought
maybe it was a different interview where he's eating gum.
I thought he was trying to see how much gum he could fit in his mouth until Brunson like started laughing.
Oh, I thought it was popcorn. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
And Josh.
So anyway, I am nervous. I am way too nervous about game. I was elated just through the roof about these last 2 games. I'm nervous now, man. Turn around really fast.
We had RJ's coming out party. I don't know what you're nervous about.
Can we have Julius Randle's coming out party?
Imagine if Julius Randle played as good as playoff RJ. I mean,
yeah,
RJ. I mean, he was bad games 1 and 2, 3 and 4. RJ turned into all of a sudden like what everybody thought he was going to be all along. Like he was amazing the last 2 games.
No, I mean, like last game, I think he was like 9 and 12 outside of the 6 3-pointers he missed.
So that's the thing. He got a lot more aggressive and he started driving a lot more. which is his strength. He's not a good shooter, and he only took shots that were in the flow of the offense, basically open shots.
He took two like turnaround, like in the paint turnaround floaters that went in also. Like he had it all going on.
Yeah. I'm just saying he shied away from the 3-point shot and drove.
He shot 6 3-pointers. He didn't really shy away. He just missed them.
Yeah, but those were in the flow. Like those were like
they were in the flow. Yes,
open.
they were in the flow.
There's some games where he's like just stalking the 3-point line and looking for a 3-point shot. He wasn't doing that. He was driving a lot more.
Fair enough. Okay, I got another question for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Can you explain to me what the difference is between a superstar NBA player and Jalen Brunson?
Yeah, a superstar puts up 11 points in a must-win game 4.
Nailed it. Set you up for that one, huh? Just spike that one on my head. That was pretty good.
So,
can you imagine, on a side note, can you imagine trading like 4 firsts, 3 pick swaps?
Mitch, RJ, and Obi.
Or the guys the Cavs actually traded, the most improved player in the NBA, plus a ton of picks for 11 points, and then get crucial game 4.
You know who they could really use in this series?
Markkanen?
Lowry Markkanen.
Yeah.
Man, he would have helped a lot.
That would be helpful. But Brunson, like, what? So the league, like, consensus is Donovan Mitchell is a superstar. Fine. Totally fine. I'm not looking to bash him. But Brunson is the second year in a row that he's outplayed Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs when it actually matters. How is he not a superstar?
I think there's going to be talk about it if he can keep this up throughout this playoff run. I mean, you have to. Yeah, you have to talk about it. If he's outplaying superstars.
I mean, is it just because he doesn't look like a superstar? Like they didn't immediately want to crown Jokic as a superstar because he didn't look like a superstar.
I feel like some players they try and crown immediately. Like I don't know if you remember, it was who's the guy in Portland? Lillard. Like his first year in the league, he was in like the skills challenge, the Rising Stars game. Like they put him in like everything, and I felt like they tried to like just manufacture a star. And,
I mean, do you want to use an example of a guy that doesn't? I mean, he's arguably a superstar also. Do you want to use an example of a guy that didn't turn out to be a star?
Yeah, but he wasn't at the time. I felt like they're like, this is going to happen. We're going to make this happen. Like, but like, I mean, Brunson puts up like, you know, he has arguably just as good of a season, and like he's pretty much ignored. So,
yeah, I think it's like Donovan Mitchell does like really cool dunks, and like he can do something really just exciting plays, but Brunson just delivers. And I'm not arguing Brunson is better than Donovan Mitchell. I'll let the series speak for that. But it is weird that people are like, Knicks need to get a star. Knicks need a superstar. I'm like, I think they got one this offseason.
Yeah.
It's weird. I made the quote on Twitter, but like, it's just funny that basically we're like, you have to get a superstar. You have to get a superstar. And Leon's like, yeah, I got one already. You guys weren't paying attention.
And I also got Brunson because Josh Hart is a superstar as well.
Okay. I mean, Josh Hart's been an unbelievable. Outside of Kevin Durant, he was the biggest move at the best pickup at the trade deadline.
Oh yeah, Rob just said Zion was a superstar before he got in the league too.
Yes, Zion is a superstar at the Chinese buffet.
So, do you have more questions, or do you want to?
I do actually have a couple more questions. I actually have a series of 37 questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Are Mitch and Hart criminally underrated? Hart, that is. Mitch and Hart.
Mitch and Hart. Yeah. So I saw a couple of people saying that the Knicks needed like a big old school center for like Embiid, and I don't know. Mitch is holding down Allen and Mobley. Like they don't even want to go near him. Like he's shutting everybody. He's blocking everything. Like he's been ridiculous. And then he sits down, and Hart like doesn't miss a beat.
So I saw a great line on. I'm reading someone's Reddit. This guy's name is James Dolan on here, but he said Mitch is never going to you said I see all the credit going to RJ and Brunson for last night's game. Obviously, they were both fantastic. First duo with 25 plus on 50% field goal percentage since 2000. Is that true? First duo with 25 plus on 50% in the playoffs since 2000. That'd be crazy. But he goes, Mitch is never going to show up in these types of stats unless we change the metrics to something like first player with 8 box outs, 3 deflections, 10 shots hugely impacted, 10 more shots entirely deterred from being taken, and 7 offensive rebounds all in a single game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's kind of what he does. He's kind of Robinson has been awesome, and Hart has been ridiculous also in this series.
Yeah, and
I feel like every game, like Tim's like, which one do I finish with? Because they're both beating the crap out of Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, Jared Allen was he an All-Star? Or was he like an All-Star the year before? Either way, he was like
maybe the year before. Yeah,
but still like borderline All-Star. Nothing. I forget he's even in the game half the time now.
He looks terrible. And Mobley, basically, all Cleveland fans seem to be commenting about, like, I hope Mobley ends up being good.
Right. So here's the thing. On offense, Randle's been absolute dog shit. He's been horrible.
Yes.
Other than game 4, he was doing a really good job on Mobley.
Randle was doing good. He also had that, and just what was the block on, was it on Donovan Mitchell on the breakaway where he did the chase down block?
Yeah. So
that was awesome.
Tibbs hinted that Randle was playing injured, which
do you think Tibbs said? So Tibbs did the ultimate move when he basically. Do you think Tibbs? I have a question for you. Do you think Tibbs is like, I'm not going to bench Randle for 3 years so I can break that move out in the playoffs? That's how far ahead I think. But he, do you think that Tibbs said that because he wanted to help Randle save face because Randle's playing so poorly, or because he feels Randle really is injured and that's why he
did miss like a bunch of games before the end of the season and then jumped right into the playoffs when they said he'd be reevaluated in 2 weeks, and he basically played 2 weeks and 1 day later. So there's a very good likelihood that he's playing on a little bit of a gimpy ankle. Now, game 4, he looked like the game started and he looked like he was just walking up and down the court. So I don't know what that was about. Maybe his ankle was really hurting him and he was getting grumpy about it, but it didn't look good. Everyone's getting on his case. I think he's still playing hurt. Let's not forget Jared Allen threw him while he was doing a layup, and his back is probably hurt now too.
He's shooting 32% from the field.
It's terrible.
And 25% from 3.
Yeah, no.
Randle isn't this bad. I mean, I guess he was this bad against Atlanta, but like this is not. No. I have to think something's wrong with Randle.
I think so too. I mean, he's been absolutely dreadful, and I'm not gonna make excuses for that. But I think it's not an excuse. I think it's a reason. I think he is playing a little hurt. I don't think this is like I'm scared of the playoffs, so I'm choking. Like when you have something wrong with your ankle or your knees or anything with your legs, your shots fall short, and all the shots are falling short. So
I mean, it's kind of crazy also that Julius Randle has been terrible for 4 games, and the Knicks are up 3-1.
Yeah,
it is so crazy how good this team has been. Like they don't. Atlanta series, they needed Randle to win that series. This series, Randle doesn't even need to show up for the Knicks to win.
Yeah, no, they didn't. Randle hasn't shown up, and they're up 3-1. Tibbs, you got to give him credit. He benched Randle for the entire 4th, which maybe Tibbs of prior years would not have done, but he saw Randle didn't have it. He put in Obi. Obi stepped up. Obi played well, and that was the lineup for the whole 4th quarter. So I like it. It's basically the 2 guys that we thought the Knicks needed, IQ and Randle, have played like shit, and the Knicks are up 3-1. If this team all starts gelling at the same time, they could be a legit dangerous team.
I mean, how crazy would it be if like IQ has been dog shit? You're right. If IQ and Randle play good next game, Cleveland's gonna be like, what the hell? This is just not fair anymore.
I mean, if they start playing well, next game's going to be a blowout.
Okay, so I have another question for you, Jay.
Yeah.
I'm almost done with my questions.
Mhm.
I don't understand the Lakers and the Pelicans
Mhm.
and Portland
Mhm.
watched Josh Hart play and did not give him a lifetime contract to play for their teams. How does anyone let this guy leave their team?
The problem is Hart is not good enough to be a superstar, but he's good enough that when trading for a superstar, the teams are asking for Hart in return. So teams want him, but like, the Lakers were like, we kind of want Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair. The Anthony Davis
He's been
trade, I can
involved in all
understand that.
these like huge trades, but teams keep asking for him. They recognize his talent.
Was he part of so I guess for the Pelican, was he part of the McCollum trade?
Yeah,
Portland, is that how?
yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's still kind of crazy because you wouldn't be like, hey, this guy, right, he's not a superstar, but he's the guy you want literally on every team. There's 29 teams in the NBA would love to have Josh Hart.
He's the absolute perfect fit for this team.
Yeah, you could justify, I guess, the Lakers trading for Anthony Davis, of course.
Mhm.
You could justify New Orleans, like, hey, CJ McCollum, it's a huge upgrade for us. It makes sense.
Mhm.
Portland should be basically forced to sell their franchise for that level of malpractice.
No, they got a superstar.
You're right. I forgot.
Yeah, Cam Reddish. How can you turn that down?
It's amazing how people talk about how much Cam Reddish could do. And I mean, I guess actually, you know what? We talked about, you also include a first round pick, but we said Cam Reddish had almost no value. Turns out you could trade him and get one of the most valuable players in the league.
I mean, they also, yes, they got the number 23 pick. So
you know what?
have fun with that.
Josh Hart, I think on Portland was used to be more of a scorer. And other teams he's had been more of a scorer on some other teams. But I don't know. I have not watched a lot of Josh Hart. I did not realize he was this goddamn good.
He said that in an interview. He said, I've averaged 15 points a game. He's sacrificing for the team.
He averaged 19 points for almost 20 points a game for Portland. I get he sacrificed. He's all about team basketball. And maybe because of like playing on other teams, he's now accepted this role. And maybe because he gets to play with like his Villanova boy, like Jalen Brunson. But like he is all about he has the greatest mindset you'd want on a team. Just like, I am here to do the hard work.
Yeah.
Freaking awesome.
So Rob wants to know if we keep Hart in the starting five.
Oh, that was my next question. Should Josh Hart start, even if Grimes is healthy for game 5? I think yes.
Grimes hasn't been very good.
No, he's not been very good. Josh Hart has been awesome. Got to make some changes.
To close that game, go full throttle. Put your best 5 out there and just go for it.
Anything is justified in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Grimes is a second-year player. He didn't even play a full first season because of injury. It's very fair to say, hey, this guy's just outplaying you right now. We need you on the bench. You're going to play well. You're still going to play.
I mean, that's what the Cavs did. LeVert was outplaying Okoro, so they switched.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally reasonable.
Yeah.
And now they put Okoro back in because, like, they have no idea what to do.
Yeah. Well, they
No
honestly,
idea.
they've even said they have no answer for
Brunson. It's
don't.
crazy. And also, I love the Knicks strategy with Okoro. Hey, if he calls for the ball, don't guard him. See how it goes.
Yeah.
We're totally fine with Okoro shooting. And Jared Allen, if he gets the ball around the basket, not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
We're fine with like you guys setting these other guys up.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Donovan Mitchell's like, I'm a superstar. I have no idea how to guard Jalen Brunson. And like they keep like, Okoro's on him. Okoro was doing okay on him, but not great. LeVert was on him. They can't figure out how to guard Jalen Brunson. It's amazing.
Yeah, the only time it seemed to work is when they doubled him and tried to do full court presses, but that's exhausting, and you leave yourself open to a wide open shooter. And
Well, it also was the Knicks were and Tibbs made an adjustment. They were screening with like a big, like Mitch, and they switched to screening with a small guy like IQ or Hart, and that way you don't bring the bigs over to him, and it's harder to guard.
Rob says, does it make it easier having Hart to include Grimes in a trade for a star, or do you hold on to both?
Here's what I have to say about that. They're being very important. The Knicks are currently winning now. Let's save the talk for the offseason later because the Knicks are just we'll have a long offseason. The Knicks aren't losing. Let's just see how it goes this year.
A shorter.
You really want to talk? You really want to talk about offseason stuff when the Knicks are playing this well?
It's so nice to not. We usually start talking offseason trades in January, so I'm really glad it's the middle of April and we're still talking about playoffs.
Right, and when Jay says January, he means Mark. Can we shut up about this for a month or two? When he tells me that in November.
Yeah.
It's crazy how good they're playing, and yeah, I guess Grimes could be available, or maybe not. Who knows? We got first round picks. We got a lot of things going for us. Let's just see how this turns out. I think we'll also know better what we need because last episode, I think the consensus in Knicks fandom was we need to upgrade from RJ Barrett. 2 games later, wow, glad we're not trying to move on from RJ Barrett.
I'm holding off on the RJ Barrett apology episode because it's only been 2 games.
Are you high as what kind of disrespect is that, Jay?
It's not disrespect.
It is disrespect. No. He just had 2 amazing games for the Knicks. He's the reason they're up. He's one of the big reasons they're up 3-1. And you're going to disrespect him by not giving an apology. Jay, you've apologized to shittier players. You apologize. Like I'm trying to think of who else you've apologized to.
Lance Thomas.
You've apologized to Lance Thomas, and you will not apologize for RJ, who had 2 of the best games the Knicks have had in the playoffs in the last 20 years, and you're apologizing to Lance Thomas.
And that's why I'm not, because every time I do an apology episode, that player then sucks for the rest of their career. So I'm
okay,
not
can you apologize to Donovan Mitchell then?
I never even said anything good about Donovan Mitchell. So I'm not doing an apology episode because I don't want to jinx this. And that's it.
How frustrated are you if you're Cleveland? I mean, are you more are you just frustrated with Donovan Mitchell? How are you feeling about your team? Like you can't you put all this you put all in on this season, and obviously you have a young team. Guys are gonna get better. Mobley will get better. Like the team's not breaking up, but how frustrated are you with this team?
I'm a little frustrated. Obviously, I'm like we need to upgrade the bench badly.
Yes.
I'm like Mobley's still what 21, 22. Garland.
Yeah, Mobley's super young. People still think he's gonna develop. He's not gonna develop all Mitchell Robinson or Randle or the Knicks are guarding him basically, but he'll develop, I guess, in the future.
I mean, Mitchell's only 26. I think Garland's 23. So they have a young core. It's not like we need to blow this up. Like they could easily run this back next year and be good.
Of course.
So I think I'm very disappointed, but we're like, okay, maybe a backup big man and a 3-point shooter, and we're back in this.
You think JB Bickerstaff's job is on the line?
Possible. I mean, if they get blown out in Game 5, I could see that. I mean, Tibbs has outcoached them. You can't really deny that, right?
You run laps around him.
I mean, honestly, benching Randle was a huge, huge call, and it worked out brilliantly. And a lot of his adjustments after Game 2 have all worked out.
I mean, he did the Knicks were the third quarter last game. Cleveland tied it up. They took the lead, and you were like, shit. This is going to the tide is turning here. And then the Knicks came back with a kind of a bench lineup to part. I guess they didn't have Randle out there, and Tibbs just did Tibbs always subs Randle back in.
Mm-hmm.
He zagged instead of zigging or whatever. It's unbelievable that it's impressive that he made that move at such a big moment.
Yeah. No, it was a great call, and you're right that they were down by 1 at that point, and that game could have gone either way. And
what advice, if you are giving Cleveland advice of how to beat the Knicks, how to survive in this series, what advice do you give them?
Probably to try and trap Brunson again as much as possible.
Yeah, the problem is that you can't trap him without. If the Knicks aren't bringing any bigs over, how are you going to trap him with the bigs? If the Knicks aren't doing any screens with their big men, if IQ is the screener or RJ Barrett's the screener, what do you do about trapping him? Because the issue was when you trapped him with Mobley or trapped him with Allen, there was some real size on Brunson, but I don't know if you can trap him with Garland and LeVert.
I mean, you could, but then you're probably leaving a shooter open, and that's where I would say you'd have to just hope that the Knicks are cold from the outside.
I think they did it in one play where it resulted in like basically, I think it was Hart on an open dunk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was it Hart or I think it was Hart, right?
I think the Knicks saw that trap and they figured out how to get out of it or to avoid it altogether for games 3 and 4. So I don't think the Cavs like so much said we're not going to do that. I think the Knicks saw it coming and moved the ball right away.
I mean, you try to go like down. Allen has some moves around the basket. I love also reading the Cavaliers subreddit where someone was like, Allen played 40 minutes and had 4 rebounds. I repeat, Allen played 40 minutes and had 4 rebounds.
Well, that's also a big talking point about this series, that the Cavs starters are all playing 40 minutes. The Knicks starters are playing like 33 minutes. So the odds are they're just getting more and more worn down as the series goes. Well, the Knicks starters are not playing crazy minutes at all.
Well, Tibbs is always known to conserve minutes. He's always like, keep guys minutes light. He never overplays guys.
It's so fun. Every like trope about Tibbs is not happening. He's playing the young guys. He's not playing a ton of minutes on players.
You could say every trope about Tibbs, and it would be about Bickerstaff instead,
or Nick Nurse,
or Nick Nurse. It's crazy also because Cleveland, like one of their big strengths was like we have these 2 bigs, Mobley and Allen. We're unstoppable, and they can't get a goddamn rebound.
Yeah. Again, if they had a guy like Marc and they'd probably be pretty good.
That would be helpful to have some 3-point shooting that can go in. Yeah. I mean, do you think Mitchell's been terrible? He had a good first game, not good since. Last game, he was atrocious. Is Mitchell going to put up like 50 in game 5? I
would not be surprised. Mitchell? Honestly, I would not be surprised.
It's hard to believe he'll keep missing this long.
Yeah. The thing is, if he's putting up 50, everyone else is probably kind of just watching. So that could also be a strategy.
Yeah.
Let him get his and shut everybody else down. And that's still a recipe for possibly winning the game.
I mean, the last time he got 40 plus against the Knicks, Brunson had more points than the Knicks won.
Yeah.
It is crazy. So the Knicks regular season were 3-1 against Cleveland. Playoffs, they're 3-1 against Cleveland. Are we all ready to say that Knicks might be the better team? Or we're going to wait one more game?
We're going to wait one more game. I'm not talking about the next round series. I am not talking about who's the better team. I want that 4th win before we get into any of that.
Okay, we have some questions. You want to hear some questions from fans?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that, Jay. By the way, while I'm looking for the questions, you want to plug where we're going to be on Wednesday night?
Yeah, so Wednesday we're going to be at Stout on 33rd Street in Manhattan. So if you want to come over and say hi, have a beer with us, we'll be there probably around 7 o'clock, and we'll be there for the whole game. Yeah,
probably we'll be there a few minutes before 7 o'clock because the game starts at 7. It is right near MSG. Stout, where is it? 33rd and like 6 or between 6th and 7th, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Something like that. Look it up. Use the Google.
Yeah.
Okay. MTFC writes, I don't remember Knicks fans being so insanely annoying about a win. It's the first round. Can we calm down?
I think it's fine to be excited. I just don't like the whole F. Trae Young chants. Like, it was 2
I heard
years
them at the
ago.
game.
It's so
I heard them
cheap.
after the game, basically.
That's embarrassing. Like, it was 2 years ago. Like, just stop.
See, some dude was selling weed outside after the game. Was selling weed outside the outside Madison Square Garden with like some kind of. He had like audio going, which was like a loop of F. Trae Young. F. Trae Young.
It's embarrassing.
It's pretty funny though.
He beat us fair and square. Let's move on.
So I would say about that is I don't know. The Knicks have had not a lot of success over the last 20 years. We're all getting excited about a very young and just exciting team. I think it's fine. Whatever.
I think the genuine excitement is great. I think the ones that overdo it so they can make a reel on Instagram, that I think is kind of cheesy. But the genuine people who are actually excited, I enjoy.
Everyone's getting really excited. I don't know. Most people seem genuine. Like, I get people trying to use like, I want to be big on social media, blah, blah, blah. But like,
yeah.
I don't know, everyone's pretty excited about this.
The clip at the beginning of the season where that went viral, like everybody wants to be part of one of those reels now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But you have to say, like, So I don't have experience going to a lot of other teams' arenas, but like MSG is pretty awesome. Like the fans go insane. Like they're really into it. It's a pretty it's got to be a pretty tough place for other teams to play.
You know, it's a fun place when Garnett and Pierce were talking about how they have to go to a Knicks playoff game because that place is awesome. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't see that, but that's awesome. Balua Gogo writes, the media refuses to call Jalen Brunson a star. When do you think ESPN will respect the Knicks?
I think winning 4-1, you wouldn't be able to ignore that. I mean, 2 weeks ago, they were talking about how it's going to be super embarrassing if Donovan Mitchell beats the Knicks. And I think they were kind of hoping that would happen so they could be like, aha, Knicks, they didn't trade for him. And then he beat them. So,
if you listen to Bill Simmons had a ton of praise for the Knicks this morning.
He did.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Not that he's not ESPN. ESPN, Knicks have to get to the next round. I think you're right. Before they,
but if they get to the next round with a 4-1, a gentleman's sweep, if you will, they you can't ignore that. I mean, the Cavs were a legit good team this year.
Yeah, I mean, ESPN like was excited about them, and the Knicks are like, nope. Yeah, it's hard to ignore a 4-1 sweep if we get there.
Even if they win in 6, like it's still a statement.
The Knicks got to step on the Cavaliers' throat on Wednesday night. There has to be no Game 6. I cannot handle there being Game 6. The Knicks have to step on their throat.
I hope they win too.
Wednesday
It's going to be completely intolerable if they lose Game 5.
Oh my God. N90 G4 writes, there is obvious evidence that Randle is mentally weak. He shows terrible body language and stops giving effort when he's shooting poorly. Do you believe there is a fix to this or something that we have to deal with? Maybe have him stop shooting threes like he's Steve Novak.
So I don't know. Like he's definitely has trouble with his emotions. He's admitted that. He said he's doing meditation. He's gone to therapy. I don't think he's like last season. If you asked me, I would have said, yeah, that guy's broken. I think he's made a genuine concerted effort. I honestly think that this is more, he came back from a pretty bad ankle injury and is trying to play one of the best defenses in the NBA.
Yeah, his back could be hurting also from that fall. I mean, if he's mentally weak, he doesn't come back from last season and become an all-star this season.
Right. That's like we were saying, maybe that Atlanta series just broke him and he's done.
I think this is a tough, like, even though like the crap I want to give more Mobley and Garland, Mobley and Allen. Mobley is one of the best defending defensive power forwards in the league. He's giving Randle problems. I know Randle's missing a lot of threes, but I think if Knicks win this series and go to the next round, Randle will look better the next round. We're gonna see good playoff Randle soon, maybe Wednesday night, but he's going to emerge.
Especially if they win next game, and it looks like the Miami-Milwaukee series is going to go long. The Knicks could have like a whole week to rest, especially if that game goes 7. Like it could be a whole week of rest.
No, but I find it hard to believe Randle could be this good in the regular season, and he cannot continue to be this bad in the playoffs.
I really think he's banged up. I don't think this is a mental thing because players seem to feed off of each other, and it seems like everybody on the team is kind of making each other better at this point. And I really don't think Randle's like upset about that or he's scared of Mobley. I think he's banged up.
Yeah. By the way, Giannis is back. You know that, right? Our dreams of playing the Heat next round might be over.
Yeah, but even if Miami loses the next 3, that's still 6. So if the Knicks win in 5, they'll still have 3-4 days off before the next. That is
a solid point. By the way, what do you think about? So we didn't talk about last show that quickly became in second for Sixth Man of the Year, and this show, Jalen Brunson came in second, or I think it was second for most improved player.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I think Brunson deserved the most improved.
And Marketing had a great year. I mean, no question.
Yeah. I don't get too caught up in, like, can you even name the most improved player from 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was Julius Randle.
Right. Okay. That bad example. Bad example.
That was a terrible example.
That was a really bad example. But you know what I mean.
Oh well. You named the coach of the year from 2 years ago.
You know what I mean, though. Like 3 years ago. Do you have any idea?
I mean, can you name the sixth man of the year from the 2012-2013 season? Come on. No one cares.
I mean, I honestly, like, I don't really care about most.
I mean, these awards, the MVP matters. All the other awards don't matter as much.
It would be nice. It would be nice, but I'm not like super upset. Maybe it'll put a chip on his shoulder and he'll play even better.
Brunson is a better player, but I saw the argument someone made on Twitter, and I thought this argument actually helped, like, pretty good. Like, Brunson was on the trajectory of being maybe not this level of good, but being a better player, like being a very good player. Marketing was like almost an afterthought in the trade. It wasn't like they traded for Marketing and they were like, we got someone good. It was kind of like his days, like he was like almost becoming, he was on his way to becoming a journeyman and emerged as a star. He turned shit around for himself big time.
He did, but the team still stunk.
No, they did. But I think that's a big, like, when you're like, do I really have an NBA career to I'm an all-star level player versus a guy that's like on the trajectory upwards.
Yeah, it wasn't like outrageous that Markkanen won.
No. And so what do you think about sixth man of the year? So IQ not winning.
If you look back at the history of sixth men, it's always guys who score points and don't do much else. And
I mean, White does play defense. IQ is a better defender.
Brogdon's probably the best defender that's won sixth man in the last 15 years. So
the stats were close. I guess the argument was that IQ's biggest games came when he started, and he started a lot of games.
So basically, Brogdon had better traditional stats, and IQ had better advanced stats.
By a lot.
But again, it's not completely outrageous. It's Brogdon did play really well, and he's a big reason why Boston won as many games as they did. So it's
you mean yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's disappointing, but it's not like, oh my God, I can't believe that guy won.
It's not crazy, whatever. Not a huge. Yeah, it's not a huge. I don't know why I said Derek Wright. I meant Brogdon also. But Brogdon's good, whatever. Los Dude writes, are you jersey collectors, and who is your game day jerseys? John Starks is mine. Hart reps it well, though.
I am not a jersey collector. The only jersey I had was right after he got drafted. I got a Porzingis jersey. We know how that went. And then I got my wife a David Lee jersey right before the Knicks got rid of him. So not track record. And you had a bad.
Well, my son, I don't have him myself. My son he has a Porzingis jersey, which he does not wear anymore. Mm-hmm. He's got an RJ Barrett jersey. He's got a Kevin Knox jersey. Unfortunately, he has he's RJ Barrett. He has Kevin Knox, and he has Julius Randle. I've been promising, and I will get him soon, the Jalen Brunson jersey.
Okay. I mean, at least he's got some that are still on the team. I don't know why he has a Knox jersey. I don't know what you're thinking there.
Yeah, he wore the Randle jersey to the game.
What was the logic behind the Knox one?
Am I remembering wrong? Maybe he doesn't have a Knox one. I thought he has a Knox one. I could be crazy. He gives me so much. I told you, I think I've talked on the show, and if anyone has recalled this, I basically knew what happened in the draft, hated the Knicks picking Knox, and then watched the draft with my son afterwards on DVR and lied to him about how good Knox would be. And then he does not let me forget me saying Knox would be good.
See, he tried to be sneaky and it backfired.
Even at the game on Friday night, he's like, Dad, remember when you said Ntilikina was going to be good? Remember you said Knox were going to be good? He'll never let me live those down.
I mean, I don't know why you're trying to trick him like he could watch the games.
I don't know. He at the time he was younger. I mean, he's 11 now. He's about to turn 12. So he was younger when they drafted Knox. I just wanted to get him excited about stuff. So I pretended we'd be excited about that guy.
Well,
don't lie to your kids basically about how good players could be.
Yeah, that backfired.
Rob writes, when do we retire Brunson's jersey? Is he the best Knick since Ewing took a lottery team last year to one game from the second round?
Oh, you're trying to start a civil war with the Melo fans, aren't you?
Arguably top 5 since Ewing.
I don't think you'd need to argue that.
I mean, he's only been here. He's been here for 1 season, so I guess you have to.
I still wouldn't argue that. I mean, who since Ewing?
I mean, I guess are you including like guys like Allen Houston and
Okay, Houston, Sprewell, Mello,
Houston, Sprewell, Mello,
Randle, if you want to include
Randle, and Brunson? I
Yeah.
guess. I mean, who else would you have up there?
Marbury.
No, not Marbury.
I mean, Marbury had like 2 really good seasons before he fell off.
Marbury's that guy that like, hey, he puts up counting stats. Let's not look at these advanced stats.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a guy that like advanced stats would have hated, but counting stats would have loved or did love.
Rob said, I think when they picked Knox, I wanted to throw my phone. I remember we were both, if you go back and listen to our draft episode, we were both livid during that one.
We were happy about Frank. We thought that was a good pick,
We were
unfortunately.
kind of like, I don't know much about Frank, but I don't know much about anybody else after him either. So I think
he sounded good because like what they said about him, like he was a point guard that played defense. He was young, which at some point we bought into. Like they talked him up. Like everything they said about him, he played like it sounded like a guy like a guy that can develop into a really good player.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was just never. Forget. I don't want to bash Frank on it. Knox we always hated. RJ seemed like the consensus number 3 pick, so we were fine with that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna say Jalen Brunson is. I would it be crazy to say like his it's crazy. I'm like, when will his number go in the rafters? We have to wait till he retires. Matt writes, is Donovan Mitchell still a target for the Knicks? Is he a free agent in two years?
Is it just 2 years? Could be.
It might be. They haven't signed him to a long-term deal. I was reminded of this when I was again reading the Cleveland Cavaliers subreddit, and they were talking about how like we can't include Mitchell in our young core because we don't know if he'll be here soon. They're like, if he resigns. So he's signed, actually he's got a couple more years. So he's got 3 more years. So the 3rd year is a player option. Actually, so he only has really 2 years here.
Rob
2 more
said-
years, and then in the summer of 2025, he'll be a free agent.
Rob said, let's bash Frank. He was ass.
Yes, he was ass. He sucked. Whatever. He lots of problems with him. I remember the first play he ever did for the Knicks. He was like doing he tried to do a bounce pass to like the center. Like he was dribbling, trying to bounce pass the center on like a pick and roll. It was you could see this bounce pass coming from a mile away. It was a turnover, and that was his career basically.
Yep.
Been that pathetic since.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, do you think the Knicks would be if the Knicks obviously the Knicks got Mitchell instead of Donovan, instead of Brunson, they would not be better. But do you think if they did the Donovan trade and got Brunson, would they be better?
Depends what they gave up for Donovan. I mean,
Let's say they gave up a lot.
like Mitchell Robinson's been absolutely huge in this. Like, without Mitchell Robinson, you could argue that Allen and Mobley start just running amok on the Knicks.
I mean, you have Hardenstein, but yeah, I mean, if it's Hardenstein and Sims, we might be in some trouble.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Hardenstein can play 40 minutes, so
Yeah, that could definitely. And then, if you still have Donovan Mitchell having 11-point games, like the Knicks,
yeah.
there's an alternate universe where the Knicks do the trade and then they just lose.
And they just don't have the depth. I mean, like you lose Mitchell. I mean, RJ had 2 great games. You wouldn't have RJ though. You'd have Mitchell. You wouldn't have
Probably
maybe you wouldn't have Obi. Maybe
yeah.
you wouldn't have Grimes.
Right. So
Plus,
that when Randle got benched, who's he getting benched for? You don't have Obi on. So
maybe you don't have Hart because you don't have the 1st round pick to trade for Hart.
Right. Exactly. So
And maybe you don't have the ability to upgrade this team. Daryl writes, so we took game 3, massive increase in series winning chances, plus game 4. Now back to Cleveland. Is there any chance the Knicks this up? If so, how?
I mean, there's always a chance. How they go back to game 2 form. Donovan Mitchell plays like a superstar. He gets 50 points. You get some of the Knicks bigs in foul trouble, or you got Brunson in foul trouble. RJ regresses to his game 1 and 2 forms. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen. I just feel like at this point, like multiple of those things need to happen.
By the way, there's a clip, which I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, but it's some guy doing a Cavs podcast where all he's saying is just like, he's like, we didn't know how good Brunson was. We cannot stop him. He's better than Mitchell. He's just unstoppable. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I mean, let's not pretend Donovan Mitchell was known for his defense before.
No. He's not a bad defender, but he's having problems with Brunson. So you're right. Mitchell could have a lights out shooting game where you can't miss. I mean, there's sometimes Mitchell, we saw it. That last game he played against the Knicks, the regular season, Mitchell could not miss. If he's on, if LeVert's on, if Garland's on, Cleveland could easily win. And then and
then Mark freaks out until game 6.
Yeah, things start getting going down. Come on, Jay. The Knicks have to put their foot on the Cavaliers' throat next game.
All right.
Just say it. Just say it, Jay.
All right, they do.
Okay, thank you. Paul writes, what will it take for us to all shave New York Knicks on our heads? I say making it to the finals is sufficient. Show of support a la 90s Knicks. By the way, did you see that Josh Hart had New York in his braids? I
didn't. That's awesome.
On his head, they pointed out that he had it like put into his head. I mean, no one has adapted to being on a new team like better than Josh Hart.
That was the clip of him singing Journey. He's so awesome.
He's amazing. I love him. I like. So yeah, Jay. So if the Knicks go to the finals, do we all shave New York Knicks into our heads?
I guess I'd have to grow some hair first.
Matt writes, how far can they go, semis or even conference finals, if Giannis doesn't return? Giannis is back. So that dream may can the Knicks beat Milwaukee?
Giannis is back and he has a triple-double. So yeah.
Okay, let's
yeah.
Paul writes, how much of Randle's bad play is due to his hurt ankle, and what do you expect from him in game 5, rest of the series, hoping those are one in the same?
I think his ankle is hurt. I think it has a lot to do with it. I don't expect much from him in game 5 because it's only been a couple days. But if the Knicks can win, then I think he could be healthy for round 2.
Q, which I can never pronounce his first name, but Q writes, did Coach Tibbs outcoach Cleveland's coach? On paper, Cavs had the better team. Do you think the Cavs had a better team on paper? And is Tibbs the difference?
On paper, their starting lineup is better.
Yes.
And their bench is dog shit. And you could argue that the lineups tighten up in the playoffs so that it's more important to have a better starting lineup. The problem is for Cleveland that the Knicks bench has guys who can start.
Yeah.
Hart started most of his career, and he's coming off the bench.
The Knicks had at one point we had Braun Baker, and pretended he was part of our young core. Now the Knicks' 9th guy or 10th guy, Miles McBride, Deuce McBride, played 5 minutes last night or on Sunday afternoon and looked kind of awesome. And he's a guy who can't make the rotation.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could argue that IQ, Hart, and iHeart can all start on other teams. So that's 8 legit, I don't think anybody on Cleveland's bench is going to start on another team.
Can we praise Deuce McBride for a second also? Those 5, I know he played 5 minutes, but he Donovan Mitchell looked like he was like, shit, I can't. Now this guy's guarding me?
Yeah, exactly. To be able to just pull a guy out for 5 minutes who could just put the opposing star in hell is...
He really did. If you watch those 5 minutes, he really shut down Donovan Mitchell and hit a 3, and you were like, I kind of need more Deuce McBride out there. Yeah,
so it's looking good right now.
It's looking pretty good. Yeah, I mean, is Cleveland the better team on paper? Do people think that because they underrate the Knicks?
I think it's close. I mean, even if you look at all the predictions, most of them picked the Cavs, but they picked the Cavs in 6 or 7. It's not like they were picking the Cavs in 4 or 5. I don't think anybody picked the Cavs in 4 and 5.
I mean, it's also when you compare the teams, the people were like, okay, Donovan Mitchell is better than Jalen Brunson, or they were saying Mobley and Jalen Brunson are they're even. Okay, Brunson's better than Mobley. It's pretty clear, and he's at the very least even with Donovan Mitchell. And I don't think people kind of accounted for that kind of thing.
Well, that's a weird. Mobley and Brunson is a weird comparison.
Oh, sorry. Did I say Mobley and Brunson? I meant to say Garland and Brunson. Sorry.
Yeah. But
that's a weird comparison. You know what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah.
My brain doesn't work. Does your brain work?
No, that means the show's over. We're starting
to
not make sense, so the show's over. So
I just want to say Mobley, I guess. I don't know.
If you want to email us, nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. If you want to leave us a voicemail, 516-584-4112. If you want to follow us on social media, we are NY Knicks Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon.
If you want to shake Jay's hand and make Jay and give Jay your cold, come in person Wednesday night.
Yep, Stout, 7 o'clock on Wednesday. And let's see. We do the shows live, so you can follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/crumpledbacon, or YouTube, youtube.com/TITOWAJ. Jay,
what's your big prediction for Game 5? What is your hot take for Game 5? What's going to happen? What's your big prediction?
Overtime. Knicks win. Knicks win in overtime.
Knicks
win by 3 in overtime.
I think there will be a bargasm where we are if that happens. I am predicting Randle shows up and gets 38 points.
Wasn't that your prediction last game?
I predicted the wrong game. Now I'm predicting for this game.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for joining. And we will see you soon, hopefully talking about who we want to see in the second round.
Yes. If we're still talking about this round, next show, I'll be very unhappy.
And if you decide you want to hang out at Stout for a while, send us a message on social media. Let us know you're coming so I can make sure we have a table big enough.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye, 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 everybody.
All right. Good episode.
Yeah.
Thanks again for joining everybody in the live room. We